Gratitude. Ẹ káàárọ̀. Yeah, káàsán. What do you have to say?
What do I have to say? On this Monday,
Uh-huh.
it's a new day.
Okay.
Um, Alegba has been delivering a bunch of messages through many people, and they have been communicating with me. And so,
Oh, yeah, woman. Introduce yourself to the viewers.
I'm Ifatumbi Adeyemo Adefumi. I am the 9th child of Oba Efuntola Adefumi, the first king of Oyetunji, and the daughter of Yeyefini Efumbolade of Yeyefini.com. She was a chief priest of Obatala and a speaker and an author. And so with profound parenting like that, it made me very mindful, and so this is a time for us to be mindful. We've been grieving in Oyetunji, loss, and we need healing, and what I've seen in Oyetunji is a lot of people in pain and a lot of people wondering in what direction are we going, and I've seen a lot of people, self-medicating more than ever, in an unhealthy way. And so, we need to deal with these things, in a healthy way, in a mindful way. I recently graduated from the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy with a master's in medical cannabis science and therapeutics. And so, we want to promote the therapeutic use of cannabis, and there's a therapeutic window. And right now we see cannabis becoming legal in a lot of states, medicinally and recreationally, and with that we're seeing a lot of instances of CUD or cannabis use disorder or overuse of cannabis where people are self-medicating, and the same thing with alcohol, and these things together interact. Our community has been in pain, and you see in a black community, the liquor store to church ratio or the liquor store to grocery store ratio. And you see that, these enablers to keep us blinded, to be followers, be in this algorithm on social media, just being following and be doing what you've done because that's what you always did out of habit, but not looking up and stop following and to be mindful about what is going on, to be present in the present moment and not to be medicating, and so that's what we really need to address right now, is grieving and how to mindfully deal with all of the stress and the trauma that we have been through in losing my brother.
Wow. Yes, that was... I don't even know how to deal with that myself.
I'm not dealing with it myself, I'm dealing with it in little bits and pieces. There's been a lot of housekeeping that we've had to do, so it has been bittersweet, in the same time that we're grieving, we've had to, put on these, funerals, and we had to do rituals and eba, and so it has been a lot of steps involved, and, so it's been in the meantime and in between time that we really get to address what we've really been going through. We've just been kind of on autopilot, doing what we need to do to keep Oyetunji going and to, do the rituals that's necessary for my brother and to set Oyetunji in the right direction going forward, But, people right now, we're in a transition phase, and, there's a lot of the unknowns, and so people are asking, what direction are we going in? We're going in the direction together like we always have, or Oyetunji is a cooperation. It's about all of the people working together, There's this understanding that, a misunderstanding that the Afin is like the European royal family, and we're not. We are a village. We are a community. The beautiful thing about Oyetunji is that the founding families of Oyetunji have intermarried, and so we have become family, and so we are all one. And that's the only way that Oyetunji is going to move forward, is with us working collectively, Ishe Yoruba, all of us together, not one person running things, we need transparency. We need some modern innovation to handle, the multitude of people that are coming to Oyetunji, and, opportunities to partner and really make positive change for, you know, not just African Americans, but for all Black and Indigenous people of color. You know, my father always promoted us being in a pluralistic society where every culture is recognized and has a voice. You know, not where one is dominating, but we all can exist and bring beautiful things to our community.
Man, pluralistic. I love that word. What was it like for you growing up here?
Where was it? Oh my gosh! It is Isha Yoruba. It's everything coming together. I was a young, you know, Omoba, and we had to rake this courtyard before school to teach you discipline, to teach you collective work and responsibility. You know, before school, you know, we would rake the yard. The young boys would raise the flag. Before school, we would get our uniforms ready. We would change the Orisha water for every temple before school. We would
Mm-hmm.
change the Orisha water for our own household and then within the town. This is all before school.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we got school, we had uniform check,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and hygiene check,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and where your sisters in your classroom, in my situation, the little girls' school, you know, you supported each other and you know, in growing up and your hygiene and, you know, everything was together to reinforce that together. You know, at that point, they would even make us, we ate together out of one bowl. Like it was just promoting unity, reinforcing unity within the children, you know?
Oh.
And so, you know, when we know better, we do better. And so that's what we're trying to be mindful of, the choices that we make, the decisions that we make, you know, that they're in line with our ori, you know, and our highest purpose, not our lowest purpose. We're
Mm-hmm.
all capable of, you know, working in our higher self and our lowest self, you
Yeah.
know, but when we choose, we can choose, we're free, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The Abba and I worked on a philosophy when I was at Howard University, the Yoruba philosophy, that knowledge is power, power is freedom, and freedom is the ability to choose. When you know better,
Mm-hmm.
you can have a choice. You're free. You're empowered to do better. You know, and that's what we want to, or your 2G is to empower you, to inform you about African spirituality, African tradition, protocol, and decency. You know, and most importantly, mindfulness.
So I don't even know what question to ask you right now because I'm really
It
stunned.
doesn't have to be a complex question. It could be simple or complex. It doesn't matter.
What do you really have going on right now? What are you hoping to put in place at Oyo Tunji at this present moment?
Well, the core of my personal philosophy is knowledge is power. You know, and so it is about getting all the information. A lot of people are coming to Oyutunji for education. You know, they want to learn Merindi Lagoon. They want to learn Obi divination and binary code. They want to understand the science behind the ancient wisdom. You know, and so that's my role, is to bring that to the people. You know, my niche, I'm getting a doctorate right now in education, innovation, and digital learning. So it's instrumental for me to create culturally tailored lesson plans, you
Hmm.
know, from OB divination to how to manage metabolic disorders and insulin spikes, you know, because our health and our spirituality is intertwined. You know, it is this mind, body, spirit that we are trying to cultivate. And so, you know, I feel like right now we're overstimulated. We're consuming more than ever, you know, toxic information via social media, via our diet, via the messages we're around. People, we're just consuming. And so we have to mind our flow, mind the inflow as it impacts the outflow that guides and propels the new flow.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm really enjoying that. What you're talking about. We've got like about maybe like less than a minute, and for this little short clip right here, what are the message that you want to keep on sending out more to people?
Balance. Balance. Be mindful of where you are in the present moment, you know. Don't overextend yourself. Don't over, you know, consume, you know. Be mindful of the inflow as it impacts the outflow that guides and propels the new flow.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate
All right,
this
thank
little
you.
short clip, and I look forward to doing many, many more with you. And
Definitely, definitely.
thank
I
you,
know a lot
thank
of
you.
people have a lot of questions. There are a lot of unanswered things out there, and
Please.
you know we want to be transparent. You
Uh,
know that's how we end the cycle of